Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for joining us today on our next virtual meeting. Today, we are at 42nd College with Commander Ida Williams. She's going to give us a brief introduction. The Community Engagement Bureau. We appreciate everybody for joining us for the previous meetings we had with our district, all of our districts, where you had an opportunity to engage with the district commanders, and they had an opportunity to discuss with you some of the efforts that they're doing to engage with the community, because community engagement doesn't just happen with the Community Engagement Bureau. It also happens with our patrol officers who are working their beats, who are riding their bikes, who are walking the streets to assist our citizens. So we thank all of those commanders, and then tonight we're here with Commander Williams. But to get us started, I want to introduce Chief Randall Taylor to give an introduction. Chief Taylor? Chief Taylor, can you hear us? Okay, we'll go to Commander Williams, and then we'll get back to Chief Taylor, give him an opportunity to speak here. It looks like he went away. So, Commander Williams, if you want to go ahead and get started with your presentation, when he gets back, we'll ask him to join us for some words. It's all you, ma'am.
Working.
Start talking. Just tell her to start talking.
Thank you, Lieutenant Foley, and good evening, everyone, for your patience. And I want to thank you for joining us this evening. Like Lieutenant Foley said, I am Ida Williams, and I'm very excited to be speaking with you this evening. I would like to share a little bit about myself. I am a graduate of Indiana University Bloomington, the mother of 2 adult children. 2 adult children. Okay. Sorry about that. I would like to share a little bit about myself. I'm a graduate of Indiana University Bloomington, the mother of 2 adult children, and an active member of this community. 31 years ago, I started my law enforcement career right here at 4209 North College, the then North District Precinct. I have worked in various areas of this department, but the most rewarding has been the last 21 years, where I spent 15 years in community affairs and the last 6 years overseeing the agency's recruiting efforts. While in community affairs, I was very active with IFD and the Survival Life program, Healthy Reasons to Say No to Drugs contest, the GREAT program, as well as our athletic programs, just to name a few. I was born and raised in Marion, Indiana, and spent many years as a PAL kid playing in sports such as t-ball and basketball. As a police officer working within the community with our stakeholders, our educators, and our youth, who has always been near and dear to my heart. I am excited to return to my roots, and I look forward to leading the Community Engagement Outreach Bureau as we work together to bridge the gap between police and community. Chief Taylor and Assistant Chief Bailey are sending a clear message about their commitment of rebuilding trust and legitimacy between IMPD and our neighbors. Engaging the community on every level is extremely important in law enforcement today. And this is why the reorganization of the Community Engagement and Outreach Bureau was formed. I would like to introduce my team. I have Captain John Walton, who oversees diversity and inclusion, Lieutenant Russell Burns, who oversees the daily operations of the Bureau, Sergeant Larry Atkins, who is my executive officer and also oversees PAL programming. Sergeant Scott Carpenter oversees Impact and will provide additional support to Sergeant Dardine. Sergeant Lance Dardine oversees MCAT and BHU, and he's with me here tonight and will be available after the presentation for any additional questions. Sergeant Antoine Keys oversees youth services. Sergeant Michelle Lewis oversees recruiting. Matthew Stewart is our strategic liaison person, and Patricia Holman oversees our chaplain's office. In front of you is our mission statement, and I would like to highlight a few areas here. We will be laser focused on building relationships and trust between the department and our communities here within the city. We will serve as a bridge between the community and the police department, and we will be intentional in our actions as we work together toward violence reduction, public trust, and legitimacy. We have identified 6 focus areas, and we have called them our pillars. We will strengthen and develop new relationships with our stakeholders. We will communicate our ongoing outreach efforts with our stakeholders. We will partner with our community groups on public safety issues and concerns. We will collaborate with other units within our agency on our policing efforts. And we will also ensure that we have consistent messaging with our partners. And then we will work closely with other law enforcement partners on our community policing efforts. Now I will go into depth to describe each of our units within our Community Engagement and Outreach Bureau. Many of you have asked about the PAL Club. Do we still exist? And the answer is yes. Yes, we do. In fact, we've never left. We are now celebrating 81 years of existence here in the Indianapolis community. We still have our athletic programs, such as football, basketball, baseball, and cheerleading. We also have our mentoring programs. We have our Chess for Success. And we also are looking to do some other programs, such as volleyball, golf, and soccer. And we recently partnered with Indy 11 to do so. The Jtv Hill Center is our second home. It is named after Mr. James Thomas Bastine Hill, who was one of the first African-American attorneys here in Indianapolis. And he was admitted into the bar in 1886. He rose to the level of deputy prosecutor before he retired. The Jtv Hill Center is the main location for our PAL programs, and we are very excited to have partners such as Indy Parks and Recreation and the Indy Public Safety Foundation. IMPD Cares is one of our newer initiatives, and CARE stands for Children Accepting Responsibility toward their education and success. It's an inclusive IMPD mentoring program for youth ages 12 to 18 and grades 7 through 12. We are currently in Arlington and Northwest Middle Schools, as well as Arsenal Tech and Crispus Attucks High School. We have also started a reading program with the goal to be active in our elementary schools throughout the city. We will also maintain our traditional youth programs, such as GREAT, Juvenile Justice Jeopardy, Healthy Reasons, and other various programs. Our Impact Unit is a team of detectives who work directly with our Indiana Department of Corrections to help reduce recidivism. Our Impact Unit officers also keep the parolees accountable and help them with job placement, housing, and many other resources that they may need so that they can be productive citizens within our community. Our Mcat Unit is a partnership between IMPD and Eskenazi. They focus on real-time crisis and active police runs. IMPD officers and master-level licensed professional clinicians from Eskenazi are partnered together and respond to active runs for individuals in crisis and identify current needs. Our BHU unit is also a partnership between IMPD and Eskenazi. They focus on individuals suffering from mental health issues and substance abuse. And they help to ensure that they get appropriate needs. Our BHU detectives are partnered with, again, a master's level licensed professional from the Sandra Eskenazi Mental Health Center, and they follow up on all immediate detentions from across the city. Here you see a graph that really just kind of outlines MCAT and BHU working together to ensure that we're meeting the needs of our community. Our chaplain's office provides a spiritual ministry within the department, and they serve as a source of strength and support to our employees, their families, the community, and the community. We will also collaborate with other faith-based communities to bring about meaningful change in our police-community relations. Our strategic initiative liaison will also engage with our citizens who volunteer in the 6 IMP districts to develop and implement strategies to reduce crime. They will engage with the faith-based community and have meaningful discussions within the community, and will work to develop community awareness and a marketing campaign to inform citizens how they can too help reduce homicides in the Indianapolis community. Our IMPD Office of Diversity and Inclusion. This office will work again within IMPD, and this focus and aim to work within IMPD to strengthen and increase transparency in our policing processes. This office is also tasked with assessing and evaluating training and operational policies that will help recruit and retain a more diverse police force. Our immigrant outreach will continue to work and to work with our immigrant communities and our faith-based organizations to bring IMPD into the neighborhoods to help reduce crime, develop trust, and improve the quality of life for our immigrants here in Indianapolis. They will also educate our immigrants on their civil rights and will work to break down misconceptions about law enforcement. I am very excited about the LGBTQ plus initiative. This initiative is established to facilitate law enforcement engagement with the LGBT plus community and will create a trust-based relationship. This initiative is under construction, And we're going to rely heavily on the community to provide support and input in this area. Our recruiting unit plays an essential role in our police department. Recruiters will continue to work hard to recruit the best and brightest individuals looking for career law enforcement. We will also create programs to build relationships and keep interested applicants active in our hiring process. As you can see on the slide, we have Women Behind the Badge, a program that specifically targets females. We also have the PAR program that engages applicants and assist them in being successful in the physical agility test. We also partner with Keeping Annapolis Beautiful for the Community Day of Service, where we introduce applicants to the life of service before they become a police officer. And finally, we have the Candidate Community Forum designed to reinforce the community service aspect of policing. So here again, you see the recruiting unit do what they do best to play a key part here in with our recruiting efforts. We are still hiring. The application process will reopen in March. And a few of the traits that we look for in an individual are what we call our 5 C's. You see here up on the screen, we look for those individuals that have courage, that have character. We look for commitment, compassion, and communication. These characteristics, again, will help make a whole officer, and that's what we look for. I like quotes, and I have a quote here before you, and I will read it. I believe that community is much more than belonging to something. It's about doing something together that makes belonging matter. I have introduced the Community Engagement and Outreach Bureau, and I have talked about our strategic plan to engage the community. And here's how you can contact us. If you look here on the card, you see a phone number. This is the number to our Community Engagement Office. And then I'll back up and give you a few minutes if you want to take down that number. Some of our additional contact information is here up on the screen. Youth services. We have our website, and then our main number here to the Jtv Hill Center. There's also the email address for Officer Randy Diaz, again, who oversees and will work with our immigrant outreach population. And then we have our LGBTQ plus liaison. She's not here with us currently, but she's available, and you can contact her here at her email address. Some of the other units that you may want to contact is listed here on the screen. I don't know if you want to take down their information or take a picture. I'll leave it here for a few minutes. And then my information is also here at the bottom of the screen. Recruiting, I mentioned recruiting. Again, we're hiring. Here's our contact information, IMPD, and it's _recruiter@any.gov, along with our main number, 317-327-IMPD. You can also reach us on our social media sites, and this information, again, is displayed up on the screen. Now I will open up for any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Commander. And anybody that has any questions, go ahead and put those in the chat box, and we'll get to those. First question was, will a copy of this presentation be available to us and sent to our email address? One thing I'll share with you is this video will be, so entire video will be put on YouTube. So anybody who wants to see it will be able to. Let's see. Somebody said, what types of metrics are you using to measure effectiveness of these efforts? Not, Lisa, I guess could you, we'll come back to you, Lisa, but if you could give me a little bit more information about what type of efforts you're referring to. Chris Holland asked, will a copy of this presentation be available to us? Chris, if you want a copy, certainly you can send me an email, shane.foley@indy.gov, and we'll get you a PDF of that. Kelly asked the same question. Kelly, same answer, shane.foley@indy.gov. We'll get you a PDF copy of the slides that were presented today.
One question about measurement.
David Wilkins said, thank you for your consideration on these efforts and all that you do. Thank you, David. I'm not going to try to say this first name, but Jackson says, good evening. Thank you for this information session. I'm the Director of Family Learning at the Peace Learning Center. I work with international families in areas of conflict resolution and a myriad of other essential life skills. Is IMPD working with families to help reduce crime? So the question, I guess, is IMPD working with family? Well, I guess we work with families all the time to help reduce crime in a variety of ways, including our Victims Assistance Unit. We have community outreach, Crime Watch programs. All of our district officers, all of our districts have community engagement units that work with families and work with community organizations, work with crime groups. If you had a more specific group that you were referring to, I'd be interested in hearing that. Question is, what from Hollis Joseph Thomas, in addition to announcing employment opportunities, what other methods do you use to recruit? What other methods do you use to recruit? Commander, that one will be for you.
What methods do we use to recruit?
Correct. What are some of the things that your recruiting unit does on a regular basis?
Well, great question, and thank you for that. Well, some of the things are, we're obviously pre-COVID, we attend a variety of community events. We take our show on the road. We do career fairs. We visit colleges and universities. Community days. We attend a number of community events and job fairs to get the word out. We partner with our media outlets to get the word out that we're hiring. We've spent a number of days and going on the radio. We use Indigo buses to spotlight our hiring initiatives. So we do a number of things to let folks know and get the word out that we're hiring. Like we mentioned earlier, by contacting us, that's first and foremost. We put our email addresses on the screen, we put our phone numbers, and we're asking for the community to work with us and contact us so we can have some dialogue and some conversation. So we welcome their ideas, and let's have some roundtable discussions to see how we can, again, work together to meet the needs of the community. So just reach out to us, again, through our email addresses or our telephone numbers. We welcome that.
And I just was told I was muted for that last question. The question was, how can community members get involved? Next question is, what is the size of IMPD's Mcat unit, and are you recruiting educated and trained officers to that unit? So the size of the Mcat unit and the training involved in that.
So the impact unit consists of 5 officers, 5 detectives, and a sergeant. And again, they work with the Department of Corrections. What was the other part of that? Oh, MCAT. So was it are they asking about impact or MCAT? MCAT. Okay, Sergeant Dardine, would you like to join me and answer those questions for MCAT? Did you hear the question? Yes. Okay.
Hey, good evening, everyone. So the Mcat unit currently has 3 officers, and we service the North District, we service the East District, and we service Northwest. And again, we are partnered with master's level clinicians licensed from the Sandra Eskenazi Mental Health Center. And we would like to expand, and that is our current plan, to add 2 more MCAT teams to our unit, maybe by the end of the year. And so then we would cover North, East, Southeast, Southwest, and Northwest and North. So as far as the training goes, all officers on the IMPD go through several mental health training steps. The first is mental health first aid. It's an 8-hour course designed very specifically to identify signs and symptoms of mental illnesses and how to appropriately get those individuals to the appropriate help. Okay. We also have CIT training, and that stands for the Crisis Intervention Team. And that's a nationally known program that started in Memphis, Tennessee. It's known as the Memphis model. It's a week-long course. It's very intense. And we really hit hard all of the mental health disorders, as well as how to de-escalate. We go through laws, and we actually do a lot of role-playing as well. And the last thing we have is our continued in-service training, or our continuing education that we do every year. And these MCAT officers, as well as BHU officers, are all trained in CIT, and they are all trained in mental health first aid.
Thank you, Sergeant Dardine. Toby Miller said, thank you, Assistant Chief Bailey and Ida. Looking forward to working with you. Thank you, Toby, for that feedback. Kelly said, excited to, Kelly's message got hidden by other messages. Excited to continue our partnership, Pacers and Fever. Thank you, Kelly. Jason Jones said, thank you for that information. Has IMPD considered using Ethical Policing is Courageous, EPIC? I guess it's a specific program. So I'm not familiar with that program. Maybe the commander is. Commander, are you familiar with a program called EPIC, Ethical Policing is Courageous?
I am not.
Okay, Gary, we're not familiar with that offhand. You're welcome to send that to us, and we can certainly review that.
I can answer that one, Lieutenant.
Says, will the CRDSs receive any resources from the Bureau to hold events, etc., and further, again, it got hidden. Larry Smith said, this is good information. I look forward to working together to ensure our mutual success. Larry, thank you very much for that message. Carl says, looking forward to working with you, Commander Williams. Thank you, Carl, for that. Will the CRDCs receive any additional resources from the Bureau to hold events and further engage with the community?
Absolutely. The CRDCs, under the leadership of Matt Stewart, again, is a part of this unit. So we welcome anything that's available to us. We will certainly share with you.
Let's see. How will the Bureau track its work and measure success of programs in strengthening community relationships and reducing violence? So how will the Bureau track its the work that it does? I guess in a nutshell.
So we will, again, we will see our outcomes by we will measure by the work that's being done, right? When we see our youth programs, when we increase our numbers with our youth, our young people, when we see, for example, with our IMPD cares, we measure that with, staying in school, grades increasing and improving, getting those reports from families and parents, and being able to measure those outcomes in the schools and the successes with their academics, number one. And then I think collectively as a community, we will be able to see our neighbors, again, youth involvement with our neighbors, and then our evaluations. We use evaluation tools, and again, those kind of stats. So again, some of our youth programming is hard to get that immediate result, but we will see the change in behavior with our young people, and hopefully we'll see a decrease in our violence, and we'll see our community start to engage us more in a positive way. And hopefully those are some things that we can see some measurable results and use that as a positive way of measuring how successful we are being.
So next question we have is, the goal of building trust in the community is essential to any community, particularly in our city today. How does this new Bureau plan to make its impact felt immediately?
I didn't hear the question.
How can what are the immediate steps that the Bureau is going to take, and maybe things that the Bureau has already done to make an impact on the community?
So some of the immediate things, again, we're going to be intentional with our actions. We're going to be more visible in the community. And with the collective units up under this Bureau, we will be able to expand our sphere, right? And so our sphere of influence will expand. And so we will certainly be able to see some outcomes there.
Leah said, from the Community Outreach Coordinator for the Marion County Prosecutor's Office, I look forward to continuing our working relationship with the community. Leah, thank you very much for that. On behalf of Cape Cod and Champions Villages, Crime Watch and Castleton, thank you for tonight's presentation and all of what IMPD does for us each day. Thank you very much, Lena, for that comment. Next question is, are there volunteering opportunities for homeless initiatives? Are there volunteering opportunities for homeless initiatives? Commander, if you don't have that information, we can always pass the information along for
Lieutenant McLemore?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I don't have that information.
Okay. John Coleman, we'll put contact information in the chat for Lieutenant Tabitha McLemore, and get you that information. Someone had a question about Epic. I believe Chief Bailey had a response to that. If he's available, see if he can provide some information on that. Chief?
Good evening. Can you see and hear me? I know we've had quite a few issues tonight. Are you able to see me? Well, I'm going to keep talking until it doesn't appear that Shane and the lieutenant can see me. So, yes, EPIC is a peer intervention program that was started in the New Orleans Police Department that had quite a bit of success in lowering uses of force in their police department, and it's based on the concept of peer and peer intervention. So, we expect our officers to intervene and stop unlawful uses of force or any illegal behavior by their peers. That's part of us holding ourselves accountable and then backing our officers up in order to do so. So while EPIC is a great product, the Georgetown Law School has created another product which we are currently seeking out. We got 2 letters of support, both from the African American Coalition and from Gypsy. And it's a project called Project ABLE, which is active bystandership for law enforcement, which really hammers home and starts to change the culture of peer intervention. And, we can change all the policies we want, but culture eats policy for dinner. And so it's important that we not only create policies, we train to the policies, but we change our culture. And part of changing a culture is this project, and that's something we plan on adding to our curriculum, both for our recruits and our incumbents as we move forward. So that's a great question. Just how serious are we about peer intervention? We added it to our use of force policy as a requirement, and we also the Citizens Merit Board added that to our rules and regulations as it's in order to protect officers and civilians who come forward with information regarding inappropriate behavior of officers. We won't tolerate retaliation for such acts when we report our brothers and sisters who we know are doing the wrong thing. So it's a long answer. We're very aware of EPIC. It's a great program. We're building on it with ABLE through the Georgetown Law School. Thanks, Lieutenant.
Commander, can you speak as to why now? Why now was the creation of this bureau? And I think it kind of speaks to the importance of elevating it to the level of the chief's office, but I'll let you go ahead and answer that.
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, Chief Taylor and Chief Bailey and the entire department, we've listened to the community, we've heard the cries, and we understand the importance of community engagement. So the time is now, and again, the focus is clear, and our intentions are clear. And so I'm excited that this bureau has been that the emphasis has been put on this bureau, and we're excited to get things going. And like I said, we're going to be intentional with our actions, and we're going to be more engaging, and we're going to just meet people where they are. So again, the time is now, and so we're excited for it.
I'm trying to see if we have any additional questions related to the Community Engagement Bureau. Ma'am, are you aware of the impact of the IMPD's budget on the creation of this bureau?
No, I'm not aware of the impact as far as the budget, but again, I know that again, the agency is serious about that, and so whatever dollars it's going to take for us to be successful, we have the agency support.
It seems like IMPD has been doing a lot of the work you already talked about. How does creating a bureau further that work?
Can you repeat the question?
So the question is, it seems like IMPD has been doing a lot of the work you already talked about. How does creating a bureau further that work? What things is the Bureau doing to enhance community engagement that aren't already taking place on the districts is maybe another way of asking that question.
Okay. Well, again, I've said this a couple of times already. I think being able to put all of these units up under one umbrella into a bureau will help us be, again, more intentional, more laser focused. And again, we will be able to expand our sphere of influence to work collectively within our community.
Hollis Joseph Thomas, or Joseph Thomas Hollis, I'm not sure which one it is. So I applaud and thank you for hosting this meeting to offer the opportunity to dialogue. Thank you for that comment. Looks like there aren't any other questions that relate to the Bureau. So I'm going to go ahead and, first of all, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Got one more comment. Commander Williams, Marion County Sheriff's Office Community Outreach 911 is looking forward to working with IMPD and Community Engagement Unit. Thank you for that. So I want to double check and make sure there aren't any other, nope, no other questions here.
And Lieutenant Foley, can I say something? Can I go back to another question? Someone asked a question earlier about how they can be involved. And again, I think I mentioned you all can get involved by contacting us. Our number is 317-327-3187. Please reach out to us, whether it's regarding our immigrant outreach program, whether our LGBTQ plus initiative, or whether it's our youth programming. We are always looking for volunteers. And again, we welcome you all support, and we look forward to working with you to make sure that we will be meeting the needs of all of our communities.
I'm trying to understand, there's a question here about the length of the program. I'm not sure I understand the question. What is the length of the program? What's the length of participation of the youth in programs? So maybe the question is asking, how long generally do youth participate in the youth programs? Maybe how many years when people start, do they continue participating? I think that's what the question is asking.
Well, our youth programming started at age 12, but again, if they're talking about year-round, our programs are year-round programs, but the age requirements for our program is ages 12 through 18 for our PAL programs.
Thank you, ma'am. And Chief Bailey, if you're still on, I'd like to offer you a minute opportunity for some closing words. I want to thank everybody for joining us on this Community Engagement and Outreach Bureau introduction. You know, while the districts continue to do community outreach on a daily basis, this really elevates the work of this specific bureau and highlights the great work. And again, as the commander said, allows them to have a laser focus on that community engagement component, which is essential to us gaining trust and legitimacy with our police. So, Commander, I appreciate the work of you and your team, and for taking the time to be with us tonight. Chief Bailey?
Thanks, Lieutenant. Thanks, Commander Williams. Excellent job by you and your team. It's an exciting time to be a part of this police department as we try to move past 2020 and the events that we all know about, both from the global pandemic to the civil unrest and, you know, what we all need to be a part of, which is the racial reckoning that's taking place not only in law enforcement, but throughout society. And so I heard a couple questions out there about why now, and why now for policing now is the time. Now is one of those times within this consistent change that has happened over the history of law enforcement. This is one of those times where we are engaged in a great change from the way we did things to the way the community expects us to do things. And part of that is recognizing the mistakes of the past and trying to improve upon those mistakes. Now is the time to do this. We elevated this bureau to the chief's office for multiple reasons, but the most important is to show to the community just how serious we are about engaging with our community and our commitment to do so. Nothing we do in law enforcement will be successful without legitimacy in the community and without the support that we get from the community. We want to improve our ability to solve crimes, and that's one of the best ways right there to build legitimacy in the community, is that when a crime occurs, specifically a violent crime, we are able to give that family and that victim justice. And starting with building relationships with our youth, like many of the programs you heard about tonight are doing, all the way through the adulthood. It's important for us to build strong, hearty relationships. And I have the utmost confidence in Commander Williams and her team to build upon the successes that we see consistently on the districts through the community relations offices. One of the other questions that I want to follow up on tonight was about budget. You all, the taxpayers of Indianapolis, Marion County, through the City County Council and the Mayor's Office, has provided us a budget for 1,743 police officers. That money is already accounted for, and the officers that you see here, both of the buildings that we operate under are already buildings that are in our current budget, and so there is no additional cost to our taxpayers or community as a result of this. Additionally, the POW Club, for as long as I can remember, has been funded through private donations, and that's why that partnership with the Indy Public Safety Foundation is so important. And there was a question about how you can get involved. If you feel it and you have the means to give, that's a program that you can give money to through the Indy Public Safety Foundation, and we'll provide you that link in the chat before we end here tonight. So with that being said, I want you to know that the commitment from Chief Taylor is there to be more engaging with our community. There's no doubt that we got away from that in 2020 because we were trying to protect our officers and we were trying to protect the community from this global pandemic. But as we start to come out of that, as the vaccine is rolled out more throughout our community, we are going to do our absolute best to get back to face-to-face meetings so we don't have some of the technical issues that you saw here tonight. I also encourage all of you in each of the districts, there's a CDRC. That is a community-driven community district resource council, community-driven, that helps tell us, the police department, how they want their communities policed. You saw his name up there. Matt Stewart is our representative that liaisons with each of the 6 district CDRCs. And so that's a great way to also be involved in helping guide your police department in the direction that you want it to go. We plan on having more of these virtual talks with some of our other units within the police department as we move forward throughout this year, and we all look forward to getting back to interacting with each other face to face like we all know and want to do. I appreciate all of you taking the time tonight to be with us and to spend your evening listening to what Commander Williams' vision is for the Community Engagement Bureau. We're all very proud of her, and we look forward to seeing what she's going to do as we move forward. Thanks again. Please stay safe and have a good rest of your week.